Hello, family members. Hope you're having a good day today. Today, I want to talk about dogs. I don't think that it's very obvious that I'm very fond of dogs or anything, but I want to talk about dogs and dog breeds and how badly people, and at least in this country, misunderstand dog breeds. So, I'm going to tell you a story. My mom used to be a sixth grade science teacher for like 17 years, long time. That was what she did for like the end of her career until she retired. And one of the things that she did that was like an annual tradition was the animal report. And you could pick any animal species you wanted, and then you did a report on it, like gathered information and presented it to the class. And the only rules that she had was, it had to be a specific species. So if you wanted to say do dog, you couldn't just do, say, Cocker Spaniel because that's a breed, not a species. You would have to do for the entire dog species. And she was always like desperately begging people to do anything other than mammals, or at least, she never got invertebrates, very rarely reptiles. She was always begging for people to do other things, but she was always very explicit when she was giving them the project details. If you're going to do mammal, even with all this hard sell of not doing mammal, and you want to do dog, make sure you understand that you can't do a dog breed. You need to do the whole species. The breed is not a species, they're different things. Dog breeds can interbreed, they're the same species. No matter how hard she did that, there was always a few kids that wanted to turn in their report on Great Danes or Labrador retrievers or whatever it is, various different dog breeds. And it's just like, people just stubbornly cannot understand that dogs, domesticated dogs, no matter how different they look, this dog, Great Danes, little tiny teacup chihuahuas, are all the same species. They've just been like genetically modified by humans. They some of the original GMOs, right? Are genetically modified organisms that we've bred to have certain characteristics, to the point where we have such this wild array of different types of dogs that are all within the same species. And it people have an easier time understanding the effect that this selective breeding, this genetic modification that we've done, they have an easier time understanding that variation when they can see it, when it's like how the dog looks, what their fur is like, how big they are. They have a harder time understanding the influence of that, selective breeding on behavioral characteristics. Casey here, he's a Brittany. They used to be called Brittany Spaniels. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there you go, Brittany. My dad raised Brittany's my entire life. He started like a few years before I was born. He got his first Brittany. Raised a line of hunting dogs and always hunted very enthusiastically for birds. He'd always go out bird hunting with these dogs and take them, all over. And so he's very familiar with the breed and very protective of the breed. And Brittany's in general have, I would say, earned reputation for being a little bit hyper and high strung. And that's generally not a problem for my dad because he would take his dogs hunting and tire them out. And we also have, I grew up on a big, like 60-acre farm, and he'd take them out running every day. Like even when they weren't getting hunted and was like off season, unless it's like deer season, you have to be really careful because people poach. But, like most of the year, those dogs were getting a good amount of exercise every day. And so, yeah, they weren't particularly hyper dogs. They were pretty chill, but there was a good reason for that, right? So, my dad takes their current Brittany to the vet, and she's the last of the line. They're not going to have any more because he's retired from uh, bird hunting mostly because, it's just, he's getting older. That happens. Men, people slow down. Um, and so she's not been hunted as much. She's not been trained as much. She hasn't been socialized in a pack because she's the only Brittany they have. They had an older female dog and who passed away, and then an older male dog who passed away, and then that's it. They didn't get any more dogs, so it's just since she was maybe like 2 or 3, she's mostly been on her own. And so she's kind of nuts. She's kind of like, ooh, high strung and high energy. And whenever she comes here, the vibe in the house completely changes. Like right now, I have all 5 of my pets just hanging out. I have 2 cats in bed with me. I have another cat in the corner, a dog on the floor, and then Casey over here. Everyone's just relaxed and chilling. This would not happen with Phoebe here. Just the vibe in the house changes because she's so, she is high strung. So Dad takes her to the vet, and she's acting like a drama queen, like you would expect with BB. And he gets really offended when the vet, casually mentions, oh, that's just her breed. Brittany's are high strung. And he's just like, no, they are so cool and relaxed. When you take them out hunting, during hunting season, they're the most chilled dog. I'm like, Dad, do you understand yourself right now? Oh my gosh. So, the fact of the matter is individual dogs can vary. And if somebody is using a dog for their intended purpose and they're well trained, then breed characteristics that can be considered negative can be either mitigated or just not a problem at all. If you take a dog that was made to pull sleds and try to make it live in an apartment and never take it out, pull anything, or go for long runs, it's going to be the just ungovernably, like higher energy, I don't know what to do with myself, Like, but if you actually are going to take that dog out and, let it pull a cart or something, it's going to be the happiest little thing in the world. The thing is, if you don't know how to handle the breed that you're getting, you're setting yourself up for failure. And with certain dog breeds, this can be a problem. Something that really annoys me is when I'm on like Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and I'll see like memes of people's pit bulls, and they'll be this is my dangerous, scary pit bull. Then it's the cutest, sweetest little puppy dog you've ever seen with a little bow in its ears, and you're just like, well, honey, that's so silly because you have a dog that is well trained and well behaved and doesn't show those natural breed characteristics that people see as negative characteristics because you're using it in the appropriate manner. Dogs are almost all dogs are bred to work in some manner. The breeds were developed for some type of work. And for some types of dogs, that work is companion, like, a Chihuahua or a Pomeranian. That's kind of what they're bred for, is Pekingese. They're meant to be people's little lap dogs that you snuggle with. And so, if that's what you want, that's the kind of dog you need to get. The problem is that people know that, and it makes those dogs be in high demand. And so then you have people. I don't know why there's so many. I just don't know why there's so many pit bulls in shelters down here in Florida. I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but like almost every single dog in the shelter, if you look at it, you're gonna go, it's some degree of pit bull. That, I mean, there might be mixed up mutts, and of course, pit bull isn't really a breed. It's like a collective of several different breeds and whatnot. But then you get people who don't have the means to get a dog that is more appropriate for them, but they want to have a dog because having a dog really makes your life better. And so they end up going to the shelter and getting a dog that they're not prepared for and don't know how to train, and something goes wrong. When I first moved back to Florida after, going back to West Virginia with my tail between my legs after the '08 financial crash. I was living out in the middle of nowhere, up in rural north central Florida, near the Ocala National Forest. And I had this cute little cabin that was on stilts near the St. Johns River, and a nice big plot of land. But the problem was I had a really close neighbor next door to me. And she's this nice lady. She is. She's really, really nice. But she had pit bulls she didn't know how to train or handle. And it was a problem. Like, her dog got away from her, ran up the stairs, and was on the back porch of my house, almost in my house, and bit my dog on the face the day before I went to Europe. Like, it was bad. It was not a good thing that she had dogs she didn't know how to train or handle. You know, if you had given her a pit bull that was fully trained and knew what it was doing, she probably would have been perfectly fine. But she had gotten those dogs at some point in their lives before they were trained, and never took them to a professional trainer or whatever, and didn't know how to do it herself. And so those dogs were flat out dangerous. Not to people, thank goodness. She had her little grandkids around them, and I was nervous about that sometimes, but there was never any problem with people or kids. But other dogs, any other animal, was in danger. And she even had a little, like, mixed breed Pomeranian dog that got killed by one of her big pit bulls. And that's the problem. People like her, although she's a nice person, she really loved her dogs, took good care of them as far as like making sure they were well fed and loved on and everything. People like her make that breed dangerous. And so I understand to a certain extent why some places want to do a blanket ban, or some insurance companies want to charge more if you have that breed or whatever, because it's just easier to make sure you're catching all of those people who grab breeds that they're ill prepared for and are going to have problems. And you end up throwing people into the same bucket that have perfectly lovely dogs that would never cause problems. I've known and loved a lot of pit bulls. I really have. I had one of my former roommates had a pit bull after I moved out and lived with her when she had him, but he was so sweet. But he was not well trained. and it was a bit of a problem. Now, as far as I know, he didn't do anything really super awful bad, but he made it really hard for her to have a social life because she couldn't have people over because he couldn't be stopped from blah, 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 blah. I didn't mind because I loved that. Like, he can do that as much as he wants with me, but she didn't do anything to stop him if her guests were uncomfortable. And I know that kept people from wanting to socialize with her, and it's sad. It's sad that people aren't more savvy. We don't have this knowledge, this collective knowledge that, the breed of the dog really does matter. There are variations, but the wrong person with the wrong breed in the wrong situation is bad. And it would be nice if it were easier to take that into consideration instead of having, you know, people hoarding small dogs and, people can't get them, that would be the appropriate dog for them to have. If it was just freely available for people to get the type of dog that was right for them, we'd have a lot less problems. If it was easier and more accessible for people to get dog training, we'd have a whole heck of a lot less problems. If I don't know if the answer is to, like, require licenses for dogs where you really have to show that you have the knowledge. I think that that's problematic because it could be exclusionary, and I really do believe that having dogs is such a essential thing. Like, I think it should be a human right to have pets if that's what you want, you know. For people like me, my emotional well-being completely rests on having pets. If I didn't have them, I don't know how I would survive, honestly. Like, they are one of the most important aspects of how I am handling my mental health right now. My depression would just be out of control, you know. Um, but I want pets to be accessible, but I also think we have to acknowledge the reality that there is an inherent danger when people don't know what they're doing with pets. You know, if people who are fans of the bully breeds that, are often just lumped into that pit bull label, will often quote statistics about how it's, like small breed dogs that actually bite the most people. And, you know, I think it's really missing the point because small breed dogs can give you little bites and people don't even really notice or care that much. Whereas I had a dog that I don't know what breed she was. I got her at the pound. And she was probably 45 pounds, 50 pounds, maybe. I don't know. She was kind of full grown. There was just something wrong in her head. And no matter what I did, I took her to multiple, professional dog trainers. I, tried changing her diet, supplements, everything. I tried everything I could think of. And there was just something wrong inside her. And she started attacking my other dog. And she bit she bit my old landlord, like the last landlord that I had going in West Virginia. Like, everything that I tried, and no matter how desperately I tried, it didn't, it just kept escalating. And one night she was fighting with her sister, and I don't know exactly how it happened. It was all so fast. But then I remember looking down and she's like latched onto my leg. And I don't even know what to do. And like Kimmy runs away. She's so freaked out. She doesn't know what to do. And Miri lets go. But then I realized that even I can't control her. There's nothing, no way for her to be safe. And so I took her to the vet and I told him what happened. And it was my decision. But afterwards, they told me they thought it was the right thing. I let her go because she couldn't have a life. I couldn't take her out anywhere. She was like, she tried to like attack motorcycles and cars and she was gonna hurt herself or hurt someone else very badly very soon, more than she already done. And it tore me up, tore me up. And I wonder what would have happened if I was the kind of person that could see that there was a problem, acknowledge it, try to fix it, and then realize when I couldn't go any further. There are people out there that have dogs bigger, stronger than Miri that can't make that hard choice that I had to make. And that's dangerous. And that's the nuance people miss when they talk about dog breeds, especially bully breeds. So if you want to get a dog, do your research. Even if you're going to a shelter, you can usually get some sort of general idea of what sort of breed you're looking at and make sure that you're prepared to handle the needs of that breed. Whatever their job would have been, what they were bred for, make sure that's what you're going to be doing with them, or else it's gonna cause problems. Love you, family members. Have a great day. Hope the cute little Casey in the background made up a little bit for the subject matter. Take care of yourselves. Bye.